Foster and Hamilton continued to travel for another day and a half until finally they reached their desired destination. As they stepped out of the woods into a somewhat cleared area to find what appeared to be an abandoned village, houses in complete disarray, basically falling apart, stonework and wood crumbling, vines and branches, trees growing everywhere out of place, everything looking disheveled as if it had been abandoned for years. Okay, we're here. Now all we gotta do is hope the little rat hasn't skittered off somewhere, Foster said as she began walking towards the center of town. So, what do I have to expect from this contact of yours? Are they dangerous? What? Picky? No way. He's anything but dangerous. As far as demons go, he's definitely on the weaker end of the charter. He's another demon that's commonly associated with Japan rather than the rest of the world. Specifically, he's a misfortune demon. Most people believe that they're called that because they cause misfortune. But the truth is, they don't really cause it. Not in a direct sense. You see, the type of demon that he is actually absorbs luck, positive energies from the universe. He eats them. That's his source of sustenance. But whenever you absorb luck from somewhere, that upsets the balance. And the only thing that can replace that luck is, well, being unlucky. Basically, people who he feeds on become unlucky. Depending on how much he eats, their luck can vary drastically. If he's hungry enough, he can devour your luck to a point where you get struck by a bolt of lightning or something absurd like that. And then the show's over. But as far as physical abilities go, he's not dangerous at all. He stands among some of the most weak demons you could possibly imagine. But just because he's weak doesn't mean he's not useful. His use comes in his other demonic abilities. For example, he has the ability to pass straight through walls. He can become invisible. And they have a unique ability to fit in even the smallest of places. Should he choose to, he could even crawl into a mouse's hole. As far as physical size go, he's about the size of an average child, of around the age of 5 or 6. And he's an ugly bugger, so I hope you can handle it. Try not to insult him. He's easily offended. But as far as things go, with him, money talks. So long as you have something valuable, he's always willing to cut a deal, work for you, do what you need. He often performs favors for other demons in exchange for currency. He can spy on people, becoming invisible and being able to pass through walls, and fit into even the tightest of spaces, makes him an excellent spy. And his demonic energy level is next to non-existent. So, even demons that can sense demonic energy rarely detect him, even in the slightest, Foster said, as they made their way into the center of this long-abandoned town, finally coming to a stop at a disheveled well in the center of it. Foster walked up to the well, leaning over the edge, peering down inside as her long black strands of hair hung over it. "Hey, Pinky, are you in there? It's Foster!" she shouted down into the well, her voice echoing deep inside of it. At first, there was no response at all. A few moments of silence passed before they heard a somewhat crackly voice respond.
"Foster, what are you doing out here?"
the voice exclaimed, as it echoed out of the well.
"Stupid red girl. Don't you know dangerous? Bad things going on,"
the voice from the well exclaimed. "It's all right, Pinky. Trust me, I'm fine. I need to talk to you.
No, go away. Pinky hiding. No want be found. Bad troubles.
Yes, I know, Pinky, Foster replied, still peering down into the well, unable to see anything. But let's just say I have a ticket to bring this little amount of troubles to the end. Clear things up. Let you get back to business as usual. I'm aware that things are a little hectic right now, but if you come up and help us out, I'll make it worth your while. And once we're done, all of these troubles will go away. And it was at that point they began to hear the sounds of small rocks rolling and falling about, scratching noises, and a myriad of small groans and growls. As the sounds began to grow closer to the top of the well, they began to see a figure appear out of the darkness of the well, crawling along the sides, skittering up the walls of the interior of the well, making its way towards the top. A tiny blackened form with glowing golden eyes, long messy white hair, and an assortment of tattered rags across their body, which looked somewhat withered, old and decrepit. The long, knife-like fingernails at the end of its fingers proved useful as it skittered its way up the walls of the well that it climbed from, eventually making its way to the top, but stopping just before exiting, peeking its head over the edge and beginning to look about.
Ah! Who that? Pinky no?
The small creature said, looking at Hamilton.
Why you bring stranger? Dangerous times, Foster. You must be careful. Stranger's not good.
Trust me, Pinky, he's fine. He's not going to hurt you. As I said, he's just part of how all of this is going to be resolved. Think of him as my business partner for the time being. You don't have to worry about any harm coming to you from him. Finally, the small creature crawled its way out of the well, hopping to the ground just outside. It seemed to stay on all fours, not standing upright. By its body frame, the way it was put together, it looked like it obviously could. However, it seemed to naturally prefer staying very close to the ground, moving around on all fours.
So, you say you're gonna make it worth Pinky's while, right, Foster? What you have? You show Pinky, or Pinky go back in hole. Pinky does not like being out right now.
Calm down, buddy. I've got something very special for you, which should alleviate those concerns. Foster reached around, grabbing the satchel that Hamilton had given her at the very beginning of this mission. She held the bag up, opening it and beginning to reach inside, starting to shuffle her way through the crystals. Now, where is it? I know I had it in here somewhere, she said as she shuffled through. But Hamilton, of course, knew that the only thing in that bag was Imperial crystals. All Imperial crystals and nothing else. So it became evident to him very quickly that Foster was trying to play, make sure that Pinky believed that she only had whatever she was going to grasp, not wanting to let him know that she had an entire bag of Imperial crystals, that she just had whatever she was going to take out. And not to his surprise, she finally stopped looking. "Ah, there you are, you little bugger," she said as she grabbed one of the Imperial crystals from the bag, lifting it out and holding it out in front of the small creature crouched low to the ground. "I managed to pick up one of these," she said, smiling down at the creature.
Is that... No, can't be.
it said, staring up at the crystal.
Where you get? You give to Pinky. Pinky want.
It said, beginning to reach out its clawed hand, to which Fosta pulled the crystal back and quickly closed the sack with the other crystals in it, tying it back off to her waist. Not so fast, Picky. You only get this little golden crystal if you agree to help. That means no going back in the hole.
Gah!
Picky growled, as it begrudgingly looked at the crystal that Fosta held in her hands.
Fine. Pinky no go back in hole. Pinky help. But you give Pinky. You give Picky crystal. You no need.
Yes, Picky. As for what I'm going to be asking, I'm going to need you to do me the favor, the one that you promised me a while back. I need a visit with the hag. Once this is done, you can consider our debt settled. You'll no longer owe me your life. And you get this very nice crystal to boot. From then on, you don't have to worry about me coming to collect the debt anymore. So, is this acceptable, Pinky?
Yes. Picky like. Deal good. So you hand Picky crystal.
It said, extending its hand a little bit more, beginning to clutch, opening and closing its claws. Good. We have a deal, she said as she placed the crystal into his hand. It quickly clasped the crystal, whipping it close to its face, opening its hand and staring at it. The small creature laughed.
Yes, this is very nice. Picky like. Picky can do much with.
At that point, the creature opened its mouth, revealing a set of very sharp teeth and a long tongue that seemed to reach out, swirling around the crystal and dragging it back into its mouth, which quickly shut. After a quick gulping sound, the creature seemed to breathe a sigh of relief.
Okay. Deal made. Pinky take you to hag. But Pinky no make promise. Whatever deal you make with hag, between you and hag, not Pinky. He not responsible. You make bad deal, get bad result, it on you. You leave Pinky alone.
Yes, of course, Pinky, she said, smiling down in the creature's direction. You don't have to have any worries about us coming for you to vengeance. Coming to you to get vengeance. You're safe. Any deal we make with her will just be with her. It doesn't involve you.
Good,
Picky replied, as it began to shuffle off, making pace away from the well, moving rather quickly, before stopping for a moment and turning around. As it moved, the length of its long white hair seemed to cover most of its body, some hanging down and dragging on the ground. The ends of the very long hair were covered in large amounts of dirt, mud, and other unpleasant things.
You come now. Picky show you where hag. Introduce. So hag no kill. You follow now. No waste time. Picky want go back to hole as soon as possible.
Yeah, we're right behind you, Picky, Fosta said with a smile, beginning to follow along. Well, are you coming or not? Fosta said as she turned around looking at Hamilton. Well, of course I'm coming. But I do think it was you who told me to stay quiet, not be unpleasant. What, is that really that hard of a job for you? A wise man once told me if you can't say anything nice, sometimes it's preferable to say nothing at all. Wow, aren't we just the accepting one? Well, I wouldn't exactly call me accepting. I'd prefer not to deal with low-level demons like this. Honestly, even calling the individual who told me that a wise man, frankly, makes my skin crawl. He's just a low-level imbecile who's managed to climb above his stature. It does happen every once in a while. A demon is truly worth more than their original blood would intend. Sometimes there is more than what would be obvious. There are those, whether born low-level or not, who are destined to greater things, to higher levels of power, and thus should be treated with a certain level of respect. Even though their low level disgusts me, I will tolerate it, even accept it. That is, if they are worthy of that acceptance. I'm still not a fan of it, though.
Well, thank you very much,
Foster said, crossing her arms as she looked at Hamilton. No, I wasn't referring to you. You're at least mid-level. Oni are not a laughing matter, or to be taken lightly. You can be exceptionally capable. No, it's truly low levels that bother me. They tend to be rather dull, both in body and in mind. But so long as they're an inconvenience, I deal with them. So long as they're not an inconvenience, I tolerate them.
Wow, what a great guy, Foster said, rolling her eyes. Could we get a move on? If we take too long, Picky's going to start getting jumpy.